The mystery novel, one of the granddaddies of all genre fiction. If you're interested in the history of this venerated category of stories, or just looking for a great book to read, follow us on a journey of discovery! Humanity has always been interested in crime, and this was no more greatly evident than with the advent of movable type. As the Western world slowly became literate, local governments began reporting on executions and crimes, and the people ate it up. As time passed, the emphasis of these true crime stories changed from focusing on the criminals themselves to those who hunted them. By the 19th century, many popular authors were adding mystery elements to their fiction, and in America in 1841, the first mystery short story was born. It was a story written by Edgar Allan Poe entitled The Murders on the Rue Morgue, and introduced a character named C. Auguste Dupin, who wasn't actually a detective, but rather more of a busybody. This character made two more appearances in Poe's work, in the follow-up pieces, The Mystery of Marie Roget in 1842, and The Purloined Letter in 1844. Dupin established many characteristics of the early mystery novel investigator: a super-intelligent gentleman who solves crimes while the local police force bumbles around, and a crime that happens in a sealed room, thus limiting the amount of clues and suspects. Poe later influenced future novels with his emphasis on the mind of the criminal. With the success of Edgar Allan Poe came a small explosion in the popularity of the mystery story, and soon the titans of the genre would stride forth and cement mysteries as a mainstay in our modern culture. Arthur Conan Doyle, a British author who believed in the existence of fairies, published his first story featuring Sherlock Holmes, a name that we all recognize, in 1887. Sherlock Holmes was loosely based on Joseph Bell, a medical doctor and professor who was famous for being a pioneer in forensic science, and also being one of the first doctors to insist that students should wash their hands between visiting the morgue and examining pregnant women. Sherlock Holmes added much to the early days of the genre, including the emphasis of reasoning and logic to solve crimes. Fun fact, though Sherlock Holmes indicated that he used deductive reasoning to solve mysteries, he actually used abductive reasoning with a sprinkling of induction. In 1920, Agatha Christie, the most successful novelist of all time, published her first book, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, and introduced us to the famous fictional detective Hercule Poirot. Later she introduced another iconic crime solver, Miss Marple, with an easily pronounceable name, and took these two characters to great heights of success. Agatha Christie was known for her easy prose. A natural storyteller, she sprinkled her novels with clues so that the reader could solve the mystery along with the detective. The late 19th and early 20th century saw an explosion in readership in the West as cheap, mass-produced novels and periodicals were put into circulation. The mystery novel exploded into popularity and firmly cemented itself in the culture. This led to what many refer to as the golden age of mystery fiction. British authors and publishing houses dominated the early years of the golden age, but as the influence of America on the world stage grew, so too did its influence in literature of all categories. At first, the American novelist mostly stuck to the British formula. However, American authors experiencing early troubles in the US, including the Great Depression, a rise in racial tensions, and violent crime waves throughout the country, began writing a darker form of mystery, and several new subgenres were born, including the hard-boiled detective novel and noir. As these new, darker stories found eminence among readers, several authors stood out above the rest, including Dashiell Hammett and Raymond Chandler. These authors wrote stories of lone PIs against the world, solving crimes that were dark and sordid. This darker trend has continued into our modern era. Modern mystery fiction runs the gamut of styles and characters, and has even crossed over into science fiction and romance. Right now is the best time to be a fan of the genre, as there's something for everyone out there. We hope you enjoyed this brief summary, and we will be following this up with some recommended reading, so like and subscribe for more information. Also visit us at eaglerockauthors.com. Keep reading, Internet.